What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Plantsitting podcast with me, Yannic,
And Andi.
and today is gonna be the third and the last part of the energy triology, how to have more energy. We've talked in the first part about the spiritual sense, where you are around which people, where you're located, and how to navigate through external energies in the most wise form. That is true wisdom on how you are going through energies. The second part, the last episode, we talked about following your path,
And highest excitement.
which is another sign of wisdom. If you see a person grumpy, very unhappy, but driving a big car, a conscious being or like a wise being would see that that person is following what he thinks is good for him, that society has told him that he should do, because otherwise he would be super happy and loving life. And then you see people who are just basic jobs, maybe working in a garden, a gardener, having a nice little family, a small little apartment, and he's just glowing. Yeah, he's present. He's super vibrant. He can laugh. He can cry. He can show emotions. He's just living life in every moment to the fullest. And you see this person is just he's just in a mood where you want to be, where everyone wants to be. That means that person is probably not only navigating through the right energies, but also he's on the right path himself, like he's doing what he should be doing in his life. And the third aspect, which comes just with the consciousness that is being developed by going, by navigating through the energies and also being on the right path, there just comes this natural feeling of what is good for your body and what is not. So what I'm saying here is not something that needs to be followed strictly because it needs to be followed, but it's just some things that can be put into the back of the head, and some things, they really resonate. You think, oh, I could be really enjoying this. And you do it and it feels good and you feel like, oh, this is contributing to my well-being. Perfect. This is exactly what it's for. But if you're like doing, for example, when I'm talking about the sauna or the ice bath, and you're like, oh, I really hate this, but you're forcing yourself because it's needed for consciousness, then the ice bath, yeah, a lot of memories done with that. Actually, a lot of things also have the right time, and some things just change over time. The right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. So at some point, the ice bath is a fundamental aspect of a person in the life. I would say if the head is very distorted, if one is very uncalm, the ice bath, in that time for me at least, the ice bath and the sauna were the absolute game changers for me. Now I don't feel as drawn to them both as before, and I feel more drawn to meditations, taking rapé, making music, expressing myself on the handpan. This is what it's like for me. And what I want to say with this, it's just be okay with change. Everything will change, and the more fluently one goes with the change, the wiser I think one lives, because it keeps you in a state of fascination and lovingness.
Yeah, not to force anything. Like,
Exactly.
you should just feel it intuitively that you're attracted to something or you feel drawn to doing something and just doing it. And if you feel really pulled away from going to the gym or doing something, then that might not be the thing for you for this moment in time.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't develop an aversion against it. Also, it can be your thing, maybe a year. So what comes to my mind is actually two things. The first thing is that that story that I really like of the farmer. There's a farmer, and then his horses are running away, and the neighbors, they come to him. They say, "Oh, that is very unfortunate," and he says, "Maybe." And then the two horses that went away, they come back with 7 other horses. And then the neighbors, they gather again around the farmer, and they say, wow, that is awesome. And he says, maybe. And then his son is breaking his leg trying to ride one of the 7 horses. And they come together again and they say, oh, that is very unfortunate. And he says, maybe. And then the next day, the army comes and wants to take in people to fight in the next battle, but they don't take the son. And then the neighbors come again and they say, that is awesome. And he says, maybe. And the story, the conclusion of that story, the realization is that is things just can't be expected that easily. It's just too complex. Life is just too complex of a construct to try to make any expectations. And the wisest way of living, if you want to have the best experience, is to just experience every moment, navigate with your feelings, what feels best, and to just let anything come without expectations. And the second thing that came to my mind was some parts of Stoicism that are really, they really gave me structure in my first experiences with my troublesome mind. Like 2 years ago, I was aware what is troubling me the most is not the lack of money or that my girlfriend should behave otherwise, but what was troubling me was my own thoughts and the feelings coming from them. And then a friend of mine, he gave me a book, and it was called The Daily Stoic. And this was the first time in my life that I came in contact with philosophy. And it's like, philosophy, I have this like from school, and the old man, they speak stuff, smart stuff that is not really from relevance in a normal person's life. That's how I viewed it. But when I just read the first sentences, it was like, oh, this is exactly what I needed. It's like a guide how to think. And I would say even as like in the beginning, if you're not, you can go, there's 2 ways of modifying the thinking. There's like, you can modify the content of the thoughts, or you can modify the mechanics of the thoughts. And like a psychiatrist, if he talks to you, oh, what is bothering you? Why is it like this? It brings also clarity. It brings me a lot of clarity when I understand why I'm feeling and thinking like this. But there's this other way that should be followed as intensely, which is looking at the mechanics of thought. And these mechanics can be first learned with basic principles taught in Stoicism. Like, for example, circle of control. Just focus your thoughts on things that you can control. Can I control how my neighbor feels about me? Probably not. Can I control my actions towards that neighbor? Can I greet him with a smile? Can I really try to not bother him too much if it's not on the cost of my own excitement? Like these things I have in control. Like just focusing the thoughts gave me a huge impact in my life. Circle of control. And the second thing regarding the expectations thing, there's this metaphor of like a car driving and a dog with the string on the car bent. And the car is just your life, your destiny. This is how your life goes. And you are the dog with the string. And the dog has now certain options. He can either go against the way of the car, and he can be like, and like resist against the car, or he can just feel how the car is moving, which way it's going. He can use his own freedom, like with the string, there's a certain freedom. You can look to the flowers, to the ocean. Okay, he feels the car's pulling. Let's go on. He can move in alignment with the car, and that is exactly what I'm talking about there. Just moving in alignment with what is happening. That was a long introduction now of the third part. And now the third part, the physical sense. And I would like to start with something that has really made an impact in my life my whole life, basically, since I went into bodybuilding, I got in touch with that. But also recently, I've discovered some new supplements. First, there's this study made that worldwide, everyone has a vitamin D deficiency. It doesn't matter if you're living in Africa under the sun or in Dubai or somewhere else. You just have not enough vitamin D to function optimally. To survive, of course, yes, but we want to live optimally. And taking a vitamin D is one of the cheapest, easiest, and most beneficial things I can recommend anyone. Creatine, yeah.
But you also need to take something so that it absorbs, right?
There is, if you want to make it real good, then you take with it magnesium. Magnesium is important for the absorption of the vitamin D, and there's like a counterpart of vitamin D that needs to be taken, because if my vitamin D is here, my K2, it's called K2, is here. I up my vitamin D to here. The relation is not anymore, and then I have a K2 deficiency and certain symptoms. So if one goes above, I would say 10,000 IUs a week, one should definitely take a K2 together with the vitamin D3. What I recommend is taking 5,000 IUs per day.
Per day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Together with fat. So vitamin D needs fat to transport, so you eat it with a fatty meal. And that's the first aspect that I think everyone should do, and that has an enormous amount of benefits. Another aspect, creatine. Creatine was, I think, invented or like brought out to build muscle because it optimizes the ATP metabolism and increases the amount of ATP, which is energy, in every cell, and that means you just have more energy available. You can train harder, you can build more muscle. But energy is always available also in the brain. So energy, some people, when they speak of energy in a physical sense, they think it's carbohydrates, oxygen, water. Energy is always ATP. And there's this Krebs cycle. Some chemics students or biology students, they hate it because they need to learn it by the mind. Me not, luckily, because I'm a practical learner. I just learned through my praxis. I wanted to build more muscle, and that's how I discovered these things. So ATP is also in the mind, and there are certain things influencing the amount of ATP in the body. That can be oxygen. That's why we come to breathing also, but creatine plays a huge role. So just taking 5 grams of creatine together with carbohydrates, not like vitamin D with fat, but carbohydrates, enormous, like you can feel it after a week. This is what I'm talking here about. These things I'm talking about, if you don't feel them after a week, just put them away again. But I can tell you these things, you just feel it after a week, and it's you just feel you're just more there, more dareness, which is always good. It increases the intensity of the experience that we make here. So creatine, the second supplement, and methylene blue.
Oh God.
The third one. Why? Oh God.
I'm just gonna say it's nothing you've ever tasted before in your life, and it's gonna take a lot of intention, a lot of motivation to take that by yourself. Luckily I have him. He motivates me to take it.
Oh, it takes even like you need to be rebellious against all standards of society. That it was invented as a color dye, was then used to like for surgeries to make the blood to have more contrast during the scans.
I didn't know that.
But it contains certain chemicals that are proven to cure cancer, to heal neurotic neurons and the connections in the brain. They connect the brain. They can cure Alzheimer, dementia, and any fog of the brain. They upregulate all mitochondria, which is the thing that produces the ATP, the
powerhouse.
powerhouse of the cell, yeah, they increase the uptake by a huge amount, and it also amplifies the effect on sunlight on the mitochondria by 600x. So if you combine it with sunlight, daily sunlight, which I also recommend, if we come to the lifestyle, sunlight, breathing, grounding, but
sauna, ice bath.
These things all just work together. And if you just, it's just 20 drops 4 times a week, I would say, or when you're sick, especially when you feel like, oh, I'm getting sick or something, it's just you are boosting everything in your body. And I would say if you take these 3 things, you're already good to go. There are many more things. You can message me, of course. I would love to give you, for your specific case, your supplement routine. But for that, this is the supplements. Now to the lifestyle. What would you say? Which things in your life have made which has dragged you down the most, and which has uplifted you the most, just for physical and mental well-being, but lifestyle, not like the way you think, but lifestyle choices?
Probably dragged me down is coffee. I drink a lot of it. So at the end of the day, even though during the day I'm enjoying it because I really enjoy the flavor of coffee, at the end of the day I get headaches and I get energy crashes and I'm just so sleepy. I don't feel like doing anything. Also,
how do you get away from it if one is really like grabbed by it, as you were and are it?
I think it's really just it just takes having the intention to get away from it, which I don't have because I don't want to stop drinking coffee. So it's kind of like I'm outweighing the pros and cons. So at the end of the day, I need to decide if the headaches and the energy crashes are worth the amount of coffee I drink. And right now it is, but it's going to a point where it's like I really don't want to deal with that anymore. And slowly, I'm having this aversion now to coffee. I'm just like, I don't really want to drink it. Do I want to drink it?
Because you're conscious of everything you do. Yeah. Like, this is the important part, I would say, to get rid of any addiction. If one is just conscious of what am I doing, how am I feeling when I do it, how am I feeling after I do it. If one is just conscious of all these things, what is my way out? Like, what can I do instead? If one is conscious of all these things, it will just happen on its own. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have anything that dragged you down before or lifted you up?
What I can say, what lifted me definitely up was going to the ice bath and going to the sauna at least once a week. We did it together when we were getting to know each other.
He tried to do 36 minutes, 26 minutes in the ice bath. 36 was...
Yeah, I think the longest I've done was 36. And you 18, I think. Yeah, we really pushed it. And what I can say is, just on the sidelines, building a relationship to any human, it is less about how much you speak, but really how much you are in presence with each other. The silence speaks a lot, being present with the energies. And in the beginning, it often gets like, there's this pressure of like, one needs to talk about something. You just don't sit, like when you get fresh together, or you know a person from you just don't just sit together and let presence speak. Which,
like, oh my God, it's awkward. We need to say something.
Exactly. And that's why I love these things also. They are so good dates because you're just being in the heat, you're just relaxing, you're being present with each other. The ice bath also, the feeling afterwards, the rapé ceremonies, everything around it. What do you want to say something?
The rapé was also a quite nice experience. Like the first time when you introduced it to me, I got so dizzy. I got a headache. I could barely walk. It was so shocking to me, that stillness that I experienced in that moment. Like, you know, my mind is always filled with chatter. There's always something going on. And then when I tried that rapé, it was like completely out of the world. But I think that's a topic for another day, maybe.
Yeah, sometimes people are just irritated by stillness. Yeah, it's like the mind is, it's so normal to be in constant communication with the mind. When there's silence, there's like, oh, and then sometimes even though I like vomiting.
Yeah, you feel like your whole body's reacting to it in a negative way, even though it's like good to
Yeah,
be still, to be in silence.
that could be another like lifestyle thing. Getting just in general, getting out of the head, be it with sports, being with making music,
Work.
sauna, ice bath, work. I would
Oh no,
say
I
not
thought you
more.
said getting out of the head from these things. Okay, I misunderstood.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, I mean, like, not like if I play computer games, of course, I'm not thinking of my life, but my head is active. I'm
Ah,
doing something in my head. But if I'm working with my body or playing music or sitting in the
okay.
ice bath, the sauna, just like getting out of the head.
Kind of like when we inline skate or something.
Yeah, exactly. And rapé is like it's like a kick. It slams the door open and kicks you out of your head. You just can't be in it. And that is for extra intrusive minds like myself, which is not bad at all because it just means you're thinking a lot in a good way also, but it can be just so intrusive on your peace. And rapé has helped me there a lot.
Mhm.
Grounding, I must say, I met Lily 2 weeks ago, and just being with her, being with another being, being with Andi, being with Lily, being just with a person, just present, enjoying their being, like what they do, not judging, not commenting, not interacting, like interacting, but just it's like going. You can also just go in nature and look at a flower or a tree, this kind of stuff. You're just enjoying something you are perceiving.
I must say that it's quite like not often I meet people that they are in the present in the moment. Like at work, for example, it's like always everyone's stressing about their tasks, what they need to do, what they need to achieve. Like rarely I'm meeting people who are in the present moment, just enjoying it, even if they have to do like a task or whatever, like just being in it. They're just like constantly worrying about what is going to happen next. Am I going to finish it on time? What is going on? You know?
And I mean, I'm from Germany and we are hyper achievers. So if something is not efficient, I wouldn't do it. But there's the saying by Lao Tzu, if nothing is done, nothing is left undone. And it says, if you just do nothing, okay, how do I do nothing? I can't just be. Okay, and now I'm doing something else. If you're just doing the things and not thinking about what to do, everything is being done. This is what the quote says. And it's like from a rational standpoint, if I'm not busy thinking about stuff, that's the contrary. If I think about stuff, what I should be doing or what should be done, I'm not doing it actually. So being aware of when to think, what we said also in the last podcast, is very important. I mean, there's a certain return of invest. My father used to say, rather think 5 minutes or 5 hours about money and then instead of working 5 years for money. So it's good to just think a little and then make the action. But then it comes all down to conscious thinking. Yeah. Are you thinking consciously about a problem? Are you using your mind like a tool it is supposed to be? Like, am I using this tool now? Okay, I'm done with it. Now I'm doing stuff. Or am I being constantly intruded by the tool I'm supposed to be using sometimes? That was, I would say, grounding. Yeah, I talked about that very shortly. It has huge benefits. It is, if you just ground yourself, it is putting out the loading out of your body. Usually you have like electric static in yourself from the radiation, that is electromagnetic waves. And this static, it's like when things are like together. It means your red blood cells are also clumped together, which decreases the volume of your blood. So you are having less oxygen also, and that means you are you have less energy. Yeah, that's why we talk about it. And less oxygen always means less ATP, which means less energy. And just 5 minutes of grounding a day, which means just barefoot on the earth, on Mother Earth, you can feel it. I really feel it when I'm being grounded. I feel like this. There's just pressure off me, yeah, and a very underestimated thing. And the last, but I would say the most important of these things actually is the daily sunlight. Yeah. Getting into the sun as early as possible not just increases also your ATP again, as we talked about with the methylene blue, but it sets your cycle into this mode. Now it's daytime, now it's time to work. So you're now starting, and at the same time, when it's time to go to sleep, your body is, because it knew when to start, it's at the right time also shutting down. Whereas when you hit your first sunlight in the evening after work, like at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., your body's then starting there, and then when is it going to stop? Then you lie in bed, you take melatonin, all these things to just go to sleep. Just hit the first sunlight, and if you live in Germany, for example, where there's no sun in the winter, or you need to get up so early, I can really recommend a red light therapy, like a red light lamp. 10 minutes in the morning, let it shine in your eyes, meditate on it, under it, think your day through, sort, collect your thoughts, conscious thinking, like in the second podcast talked about. And that is really habits that I can recommend from my experience.
And maybe we can touch a little bit about food.
Food, yeah. Food doesn't need to be complicated. I personally would say avoid the bad stuff and just feed yourself with the good stuff. Yeah. So what is the bad stuff? Sugar, gluten, artificial flavors and sweeteners, and that's about it. Yeah, I would say trans fats and these, don't make it too complicated. Sugar and gluten and artificial sweetness. These three things are the most present and normalized substances in our society, which are pretty, like, they have very big influence on how you feel, because the microbiome is not just your whole immune system is in the microbiome, in your gut, in your digestion, but also how connected your spirit feels to the earth. If you can just take an antibiotic if you or you remember you took it, please don't take it, and you remember how you felt. You probably felt very separated from you felt separateness, aloneness, coldness. And this comes from your bacteria dying with you. You are your bacteria and they're dying, you're dying. It's super, like, what one puts in the mouth has super much influence, and it's so normalized to just put something in the mouth for enjoyment, or to pop something just to reduce some pain that is usually induced by these things that we just are talking about now. So avoiding these can have a real big impact. Yeah.
What about fasting? How regularly to eat?
Fasting, I would say eating before 12 makes no sense, because the digestion really just starts at that time. So I would begin my meals always after some start in the day, some positive work, some positivity, some first sunlight, and then start the first meal at 11. Maybe follow up with 1 or 2 more meals on the day, like 2 or 3 meals, and avoid the bad stuff. It doesn't mean one needs to be crazy about it and look at everything or else has this in it. Just be conscious of what is good and what is bad. And if you feel after a certain meal, I don't feel good, and then you look at it and then you know why it's happening, then you can just say, okay, maybe I'll just keep it in mind next time. Maybe I don't feel drawn to it anymore, because now I know why I feel bad after it. Water, also a big factor. A filtered water has made such a big difference for me.
The taste is just completely different.
It's different. I feel more healthy. I feel more energetic. It's a real good investment. What foods to take in? I'm just recalling at the same time, maybe just something bad to avoid. No.
I think the only thing also you say palm oil or something.
I think one is, in my opinion, just not to keep too much in mind, but keep this free, but be aware of it. Like these artificial sweeteners, for example, they are so normalized that they're like sugar is bad now. Sugar was once marketed as good. Now sugar is bad, but Coke Zero or like sweet
sugar-free stuff,
protein bars, all those things is marketed as good. Like this is the danger. I think when people think it's good, but it's actually bad. Yeah. And gluten is just a thing. It puts a membrane on the intestines, and like nutrients can't go through it that well. So it really has a big impact. I would say if one just goes 80-20, just like all the corn products you eat, just do 80% non-gluten and 20% gluten. From here to there, a muffin or a donut, it's fine, yeah, but just awareness is the most important thing. Good things to eat. I think the easiest way is if I just list the things I eat on a daily basis. Chicken, rice, broccoli. Salmon. That's it. No, just kidding. In my bodybuilding days, this would be it. Right now, it's sourdough olive bread from Carrefour for all the people in Dubai with cheese, toasted bread. One of my favorites, and that combined with organic olive oil. And I've discovered just recently, it's called Heritage Basket. The olive oil tastes completely different than the organic and cold pressed and what you call it from Spinneys or Carrefour. There's something different about it. So I really recommend them or any other, like where you really know it's organic and it's raw. I also order my eggs, which I eat daily there, organic eggs. They look completely different than the free-range organic eggs in the supermarket, and they're cheaper, yeah. Yogurt and frozen berries, blueberries, red berries, strawberries, mango. I like to make these smoothies, like you put in a mixer, a little bit of raw yogurt. I used raw yogurt, but you can use normal also. Then berries, a little bit of sugar. I use the unrefined one. It's just, it's sweet for me anyway. So if I can use raw honey or unrefined sugar, makes no difference for me. So I just try to use the optimal form. And then, just mix it with filtered water. And then there you go. You have a good smoothie together with some walnuts. Nuts I really like. Rice noodles with teriyaki sauce. Then some Tabasco even. Then some peas, chickpeas, onion, and carrots. Salmon I've made in there also. Put there also instead of the chickpeas. Then beef, a salmon soup. We like pho's, for example, also pho. Can one Google Asian soup, beef pho, a salmon soup. Just I would say with the good foods, it's important to just keep it simple. One ingredient.
Okay.
Yeah, it's simple. One ingredient is pretty simple, but simple is a little bit vague. Yeah. One ingredient products. Avoiding certain things, like flour is also one ingredient, it's wheat flour. But just knowing what to avoid, what we just said, and then single ingredient products, going by feel, what feels good. Some things also have changed for me. Sometimes I felt drawn to salmon. At another time I had my a beef season where I ate 2-3 times a week beef, or even 4. The body usually tells us what to eat. It just mustn't be clouded by drugs, artificial
sweeteners,
and also the flavors, artificial flavor. They're like drugs for the body. They cloud the inner voice, the inner compass. But if you are reducing these to a minimum and focus on whole foods, your body will tell you what to do. Enough salt is also a big thing. Salt and minerals, coconut water, I really like. It contains a lot of minerals. Salt, I use the Celtic sea salt. It's, in my opinion, the best and the purest salt, like no heavy metals in there. like in the pink Himalayan salt, for example, which is usually refined in China. And they are a little bit vague about it. Yeah, if they hit like an iron mine, there's then something in it. Yeah, with the with the hydration, drinking enough, and one always thinks, okay, I'm not well hydrated, I need to drink more. But what we just said with the salt, like the body can't do anything with water if there's not enough minerals in the body. So the combination of minerals and the water together creates the hydration, which then creates the energy and the spaciousness. Hydration. I used to, when I help people like building more muscle, and they ask me, "Oh, which supplement should I take? Which booster pre-workout?" So he used to come to me and ask me, "What can I do? I want to take a bit something to get more." Like which supplement to take to have more muscle building, more energy in my training? Which booster should I take? And I told him just drink 1 liter more water. And what I have discovered on most of the clients, that just drinking 1 liter more of water a day increases like most performance by 20%. They get a pump, they feel good, their head is clear. All the things that you wish from all the products you want to buy are just with a little bit more water. Yeah. And I would say that's basically it. Yeah, we have covered the nutrition, the habits, the biohacks, the supplements, sports training. I would say moving. We can call it movement and stretching.
Yeah.
Feeling the body, like the body needs to do something. Just sitting there, the body just wants your attention always. It's like a person. And you can be meditating and be present in your body. It counts as the same as you are in the gym pumping iron. It keeps your body just healthy if you are in the body. And it can be anything: volleyball, inline skating, rollerblading, table tennis.
Even walking. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Just something to get you moving.
Exactly. Yeah. Breathing is a big aspect also when we're with the moving. If you have problems meditating and being just in your thoughts, if it's too intrusive and you don't have rapé at hand, you can just try a breath work. You just take conscious breaths. You can Google, for example, the Wim Hof breathing, or just breathe consciously. Yeah, deep breaths. Also during the day, a few deep breaths. I heard Eckhart Tolle said that just 3 times or 4 times a day, just 2 or 3 deep conscious breaths are worth more than 10 minutes meditation at one point, because it's about being conscious, reminding yourself, being conscious every day. It's like with coffee, not the amount of coffee makes the drug, but how regularly you do it, how often. And that's the same with the good stuff, yeah, with the meditating, with the positive thoughts. And I think that is everything that can be covered about energy. If you follow these 3 pillars, I say pillars because with a pillar is the thing usually in a building, if one is missing, the building is crashing. And it's like with these pillars, you don't need to be everything on perfection.
But you need to have the basics.
The basics of all 3. Otherwise, if you are like spiritually super advancing, but then you just eat only fast foods, which you are not doing with your also these things, they just uplift each other. If you're a conscious eater, it's very hard to not be conscious about your negative thoughts, and vice versa. It all goes aligned. But I would really recommend to look in all 3 parts of the video. Of course, yeah, it's something I said, and I'm Andi. How can I deny another person our wisdom? And I'll be looking very forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Give us a feedback, what you like to do better.
And if you have any questions, we're also open to discussing those.
Discussing those in the podcast, and also, of course, in the comments if it's something very quick. And I see for myself as a life reflection here in the podcast. Because I'm a person. I really like guiding and coaching people, and sometimes I get also too worked up. I mean, it's a podcast. It's normal that I talk here a lot, but I feel sometimes I could use a lot more just conscious breaths to recenter myself and to be a little bit more still, that I'm conscious of. And we will see, inshallah, in the next podcast, it will be used in the practical sense.
Definitely.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you soon.